Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. And today, we got ourselves a tiny little update on the Ripple v SEC lawsuit, but I think the entire story for today is pretty interesting. So stick around and watch through if you enjoy crypto news. And let me know down below, guys, are you still bullish on crypto, yes or no? We'll see in a second why I'm asking that question. So first of all, parties are in a fight regarding the SEC's responses to the defendants' fourth set of requests for admission. Defendants will file a motion to compel and have proposed a briefing schedule to the court. The specific dispute is not identified, so hopefully you guys have all watched my video from yesterday where I talked about how hypocritical the SEC is in their delay tactics and whatnot. Right now, take a look at this. Defendants Ripple Labs, Brad Garlinghouse, and Chris Larson respectfully request the court's approval of a briefing size and schedule for purposes of a dispute concerning the SEC's responses to defendants' fourth set of requests for admission, basically requests for responses, so to speak, and on which the parties have reached an impasse. The SEC consents to this proposal to basically take this a little step further into court. Defendants intend to file a letter motion to compel, so basically a new request to the court, to the judge, to get this information from the SEC, these answers to a set of questions. And the parties have agreed to the following proposed schedule and page limits. Defendant's motion will not exceed 7 pages. The SEC's letter as a response not exceed 7 pages and be filed within 10 business days. It's a long-ass time. And defendants reply in further support of the motion, which again is a defendants first, Ripple, then SEC responds, and then Ripple comes back on. Would not exceed 4 pages and would be filed within 7 business days of the SEC's opposition. With respect to page limits, defendants believe that a combined motion of 7 pages or fewer, which is below the 5-page per party limit provided by Section 2C of the court's individual practices in civil cases, would permit the court to fully consider the factual basis and legal issues raised in the motion and serve the interest of the judicial economy and efficiency. So the reason we're not so happy with this is because even though it might not actually delay things in the lawsuit too much, first of all, it's hypocritical to what we saw yesterday, where the SEC was basically stating that some defense lawyers, they're going for delay tactics. Well, in this case here, the judge has already said, hey, this fourth set of requests for admission, we talked about this before, right, with all the 6 sets, I believe. This has already just been said by the judge that they should hand it over. Yet, exactly what they should hand over, I believe the judge all ruled on that. Yet, if the judge didn't, please correct me in the comments section, but I believe she did already. She said, hey, give it over to Ripple side. And the same thing, of course, went for the William Hillman emails and whatnot. The SEC still, however, keeps trying to go back and say, you know what? I don't think so. I don't think we're actually supposed to hand this over. Let's fight over it once more. At the end of the day, the judge is most likely not going to reconsider. So what will most likely just happen is they have to go through one more process of Ripple requesting it via the judge, these specific documents, and all it takes is just more time. James Phelan said the date for the filing of the motion to compel has not been stated, so he would expect it to be filed very soon. I'm not sure how that's supposed to work out. But man, oh man, this case is getting tiring. Then again, you guys have said, please keep us up to date with all the newest juicy juices. That's what I'm doing right here. Then again, I've personally stepped away a little bit, mostly because we'll see what happens. And I wanted to make a video about what I think is going to happen to XRP over a little bit of a longer term. But let me just tell you guys like this. Honestly, the price right now at about 40 cents, something like that, to me is a really big steal. If I think about it, okay, like a 25x, we'll bring it to $10 or so. And if you guys remember, when the price dropped to 17 cents, I was telling everybody, I don't think a 50x or a 100x is even that crazy. And that would only put the price at like $17 or so, right? Or maybe even $8.50. Right now, since we're at 40 cents, the multiplier is a lot better again. When we were at $1.20 and stuff like that, well, then you have about an 8x to go. Right now, we have like a 25x or so in like an easy fashion, if you ask me. About when this settles, for example. It depends a little bit on the market conditions, but I still expect $8 plus. Or let's say as a minimum, like double the all-time high. Then again, one thing I must make really clear is that we might, on the day of a settlement, see a very big pump and dump, in the sense that people will be buying it up out of proportion. Maybe the price even goes to a level unprecedented before falling significantly again. And that's because people might FOMO in too hard based upon this idea, when in reality, even though it's got the clarity now, there's a lot of manipulation that can happen around that time. It could even be so that they're going to manipulate the price to not move as much, to not put the pressure onto Ripple, basically, in a positive way. Because, again, negative for us, but a positive way for those guys doing that. Because, as we said before, it seems like this entire plan with the SEC has been kind of orchestrated from the front, even though I cannot confirm that. So there's also a little bit of thought going into the fact that they're going to kind of put everything down a little bit, maybe sell a lot, because, again, a lot of parties have some XRP in the process, maybe. I digress. So one thing I talked about earlier was about how the whales are getting in significantly, right? A lot of institutional investors are buying right now. Take a look at this. Investors withdraw over $7 billion from Tether, raising fresh fears about stablecoins backing. This is the other side of what I was saying. The retail is fearful right now. You guys were kind of wondering why this number is so low. On Twitter, I got a lot of skepticism for claiming that 8 was a very low number and it was logical. It's very logical. People are afraid that the entire crypto market is going to crash. And let me read for you guys one specific comment that I saw just now. If this is you, my friend, big shout out to you for being a fearful little guy. This is I'm not going to say the name just to be sure. Get whatever is left of the exchanges before you can't. I bought a hardware wallet, but I'm no longer confident at all that it's not just another scam. So I'm taking out the few dollars I have left completely out. And if one guy is saying this, you guys already know there's a ton of people who have this same mindset that crypto is scary right now because of stablecoins, because of some interactions from G7 or whatever on crypto regulations. People are fearful that heavy regulations are going to hit hard and that stablecoins are not going to hold up. And of course, a lot of this comes after the UST crash that just happened. Then again, I'm not too worried. A little fun piece of news for all of you guys that care. 10 billion Shiba Inu was actually just burned in a single transaction, and about 12.8 or so has been burned in a day, 12.8 billion. Crazy number, all right? I'm not, again, the biggest holder of Shiba Inu or anything like that, but I do get fascinated by the news, and I kind of see it on the same par as with Luna or so. It's got a crazy vast community. People love to see news about this, and I have to include it in my videos for the people that enjoy to read about it. Then, let's move on. We just talked about the article, right? This was the G7 article, by the way, that I was posting yesterday that people responded to. It's not actually got many views. I'm wondering exactly what happened right there. Maybe the title was not that amazing because the idea was actually pretty interesting. So over the next 2 days, I believe from the 18th to the 20th, over in Germany, they'll be discussing crypto regulations, and a lot of countries are going to be coming, right? According to Tuesday report from Reuters, Bank of France Governor François Villeroy-de-Goulot said representatives from the US, Canada, Japan, Germany, France, Italy, and UK will likely speak on issues related to regulatory framework for crypto at the meeting in Germany's cities of Bonn and Königswinter starting Wednesday. Villeroy reportedly said that the recent crypto market volatility, likely referred to some stablecoins depending from the US dollar, like USD, and the price of major tokens dropping, had been a wake-up call for global regulators. So, again, this kind of puts in motion more and more the whole situation of Terra Luna being a insider, if you know what I mean. Like, no way, this crashed so hard. Well, let's regulate it now, you know? Where it's like, well, they made it crash, maybe. Talking about crashes, we are still moving sideways for the Bitcoin price, by the way. Take a look, for example, at this right here. We still have one of the major resistances riding here at 31.5 thousand, and one of the, I guess, easier supports to find out is about 28.5 thousand. And over on the weekly, it still is looking not as bullish as I would have anticipated or expected, but it still looks as if a recovery is pretty much around the corner. What I'm saying with that is, a lot of people are saying, no, we need to actually get a close at about 27,000 or had another hit. It wouldn't be strange or so. Oh, you guys can see perfectly. Let me move this over a little bit. There we go. However, the way I'm viewing this, right, is like this. We've hit this bottom, this $30-ish thousand bottom in January of 2021. We've hit this same bottom in July of 2021, and right now we've hit the same bottom again, depending on where the price goes over the next week or so. But just looking at the price action from those specific moves when we had this low close, basically, it honestly is not too strange if we just get a nice bounce back over the next week and actually close in the green, purely based upon what happened a lot of these different times when we got back to this zone. So the moment we breached through, I said before that I'm a little bit more bearish, and I think that is also reflected in this number once more. If Bitcoin keeps going on like this, people get more and more bearish, they get more sad. Then again, I honestly think it has a little bit to do with the stock market being down, so to speak. You obviously guys have seen that from December on forward, the stock market has just been moving down. Then again, the stock market is moving in a manner which I anticipated, which is a very, very bullish new week. Then again, of course, Bitcoin moves in the weekends too, and the S&P doesn't. Then again, it's actually kind of interesting how the stock market is looking so well when you can read articles like this. JP Morgan shareholders vote against Jamie Dimon's pay. Only 31% of investors backed the chief executive's remuneration plan, as he basically was supposed to get about 50 million bucks or so. The plan for the top 6 executives, I believe, was supposed to be $201 million, of which he was supposed to take home about 50 or 52 million in options, I believe. But this is the first time where, in like a very long time, the majority of the people were really not happy with this. Like a 30% or so said yes to this vote, which is kind of unreal, basically. But that's because the stock price has been moving down, and because generally speaking, there's not enough money to go around. So, okay, there is enough money to go around. It's just not really as if they want to spend it that way right now, because people are more fearful. Even though the stock market isn't reflecting that straight off the bat, you can see the course that the S&P has been going over the last couple of months, right? It's basically down 20% or so. Having said that, many of my friends are saying, let's not buy the dip just quite yet, but I'm doing that. I'm buying the dip massively because I think it's worth it to buy my way down. If you don't have extremely many funds ready, be a little bit more cautious because, of course, I am not going to die out or something bad's going to happen if I do buy this dip and the price crashes further, because I can just buy more and I'm not really too worried about it. And what percentages I do it, that's hard to say for right now, but I have to come up with a strategy and explain it to you guys later. But generally speaking, you can just use any DCI calculator. And you kind of got to weigh out for yourself how much income is going to come and how much you need the money and how much you're willing to risk it. That all plays a big factor in it too, which makes things a little bit more difficult. Again, guys, these videos are not financial advice, just my own opinion, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again in another crypto video later today.